Hello and welcome back to Mirror's Signal podcast. This mini-series is brought to you by Talking Send with Dr. Julia Malkin MBE, which is a Patreon page where members get access to a large number of videos to help you understand your neurodiverse learners on driving lessons. This mini-series is 10 episodes with Julia, going through 10 tips for teaching neurodiverse learners. I hope you enjoy these episodes. Hello, Julia. How are you?
Hi Josh, how are you? Okay, I'm fine, thanks.
Good. I'm great. Thank you very much. So we're turning again. Tip number 7 this evening.
Yeah,
What is tip number 7 from yourself?
I think it's got to be stress preparation and to understand the level of stress we have as people. Not dealing with driving stress in the car, well, that's a contributory factor. We're dealing with external stresses as well as. It's a well-known fact that us as neurodivergent people can almost like be a Jekyll and Hyde kind of character. Sometimes we can go to school and we're kids and behave perfectly okay at school. We come home and we behave so badly, you believe it's the same person. Now, that's quite common. And that's because we've had a lot of stress to deal with when we're at school. You have to obey all the school rules, answer all the questions, see how far you get in the tests, and try and hopefully blend with everybody else. It's very difficult to do. So by the time we get back home again, oh, I just want to release some of that tension, some of that stress that society's put on us. Now, unfortunately, if you get into a routine where in the evening they're putting the stress off afterwards, be careful. I'm very careful with anybody who has an evening session because they're more likely to blow in because it gets into a routine and they're thinking, right, it's time for me to just let my stress out the system. So watch out if they get a load of stress when they first come into your car. You got to watch out for that. You're probably getting rid of all the stress of the day. That's why I have stress balls in the car. I have stress balls right here, so people on the internet, if they want to get some stress out as well, that's fine because stress affects us more than it does the everyday person. You see, we only have a limited ability to be able to use social imagination. So a lot of stress with us comes from the communication difficulties. So we try to go through a day to understand other people, to know other people, to know what to do, when to do it, how to do it, trying to interpret the language. We get so stressed out and we can only hold that on for so long. Now, of course, everyday people aren't getting these kind of stress issues. They can understand each other. But we have so much trouble trying to understand. They've got to learn to blend in. They've got to learn to cope with everything else as well. We've got to cover everything up so nobody else will be autistic, therefore we won't get bullied. We've got to hide things. We've got to be secretive. Some of us are very, very secretive people. We've got to be, because that's how we survive. We've got to learn how to cope. How you have to cope with a society full of people that don't understand the way we work. We're bound to get stressed out. So we're dealing with a lot of problems that are stress related. And it's very important for driving instructors to know the key points. Some of the stress we have is nature and nurture as well. It's not only just the way the brain's interpreting things and how the brain is having trouble with communication and social interaction, but there could be stress from bullying, especially online like we do nowadays. I remember being bullied in the family. I remember being chased down the garden by a really wild woman who called herself my mother, waving a 6-foot yard bush above her head that was going to go crashing down on my head. And I remember going down the garden and ran all the way down to the house, and she's still following me through the kitchen into the hall and all the way up the stairs. And she's standing at the bottom of the stairs waving this bush. Now, the thing is, that is stress, you see. Running down 100 mile an hour, you got to keep running. One of the things that servers on the spectrum are taught to is to run. Sometimes we're running at school away from bullies. We're finding places to hide away from them. I was. You're dealing with situations where the everyday person, what do you think about? You're getting a person that's been through all this, now reaching driving age, getting into your vehicle. What kind of stresses are we expecting? We're not expecting the standard world stress like I broke up with my boyfriend or I've got an exam tomorrow or something like this happening at college. It is not the kind of stress that the everyday person sometimes gets. We have trouble blending in, we have trouble conforming. We're worried sick about people, especially new people, especially strangers. And especially sometimes people who conceive as being authority. We have the kind of like a sort of a big boundary with sort of big gap between where we see ourselves at the bottom and this person in authority that's kind of up at the top. And sometimes it's difficult for us to even perceive things like this. I tell people in my workshops, you as driving instructors, to say to them, you could be the very first positive person we've ever met. And it's absolutely 100% true. That's why I go on for positive. That's why I accentuate the positive in another one of these sessions that I've done. It's absolutely vital because that positivity is one of the biggest things to alleviate our stress. We've been brought up in a society that's been looking down on us and bullying us because we can't fit in, can't belong, can't communicate. We can't fully work at the same speed as other people. We have trouble communicating. We can't make friends with other people. We're having trouble communicating, staying focused on a task if you've got ADHD. You can't probably play in sports if you've got dyspraxia or join the school sports team. There's so many things that we have trouble with. There's no diversion. People who get into your vehicle. What are you going to do about this stress? Now, there's two big stress boilers that you got to watch for. Meltdowns one and shutdowns the other. And both of them are horrible and you don't want that. So you've got to learn to find where the first aspects of stress is going to be. So you can talk to your pupil about the stress, ask them what it is that stresses them out on the road. What can you see on a certain stretch of road that could be a stress to you? Stresses take many forms. It could be something bright coloured. Sensory sensitivity can cause a stress. Or it could be something that they perceive as being dangerous. It might not necessarily be dangerous to the everyday person, but it could be to them. There might be a crowd of people. A lot of us can't stand crowds. There might be a big queue of traffic. ADHD people hate the wait. So they're thinking about the kind of stress that is to their brain and to their environment and thinking, how's that going to affect me? So I usually place my people on the road and thinking, right, you're going about 400 yards. Tell me what it is that's going to stress you the most. And it could be something like a multicolored kid's toy lying on the grass, or it could be the fella painting the roof. There's a lot of things that could be the big stressor. And knowing what these kind of stresses are tells you a lot about what your pupil's seeing and the kind of things that have been stressing them in the past. The biggest number one thing is trust. We know that. And trust is built up, taking a few weeks, probably much longer with some of us. But I always say to them, it's very important, if there's any stress, you let me know. And we'll do something about it. No worries, you don't have to go through it on your own. After a while, they won't keep the feelings bottled up and they'll let you slowly into their world and things like this. To help with stress, it's important to know what their hobbies, interests, and personal passions are if they've got any special interest. That's so important because that helps relieve the stress. I was in a meeting once and someone had a stress. It was a big conference for autism. And loads of social workers had turned up, but lads from the local autistic group had turned up too. And one of the presenters said something that started one of these guys into a massive fat meltdown. It was enormous. Great big guy, about 6'4", huge big bloke, charging out the room at 90 miles an hour. And all the social workers in the room going, what? And I was on the stall, advertising my driving stuff and how to come off my stall and follow this poor guy out. Nobody else was moving. And by the time the poor woman on reception came running out, she was saying, well, what's the matter with her? There's been a problem. I said, there's no problem. I said, we're just standing out here talking about Man United. Man United! I said, look, I said, this fella's putting me rather dry. I said, can you do me a favour and get me a drink of water? So that saved all the embarrassment. And when she got back with the water, I said to her, I said, look, I says, do you have a room in this building that is fairly cool, fairly calm, nice and quiet, nice dim lights, with comfy seats and people can sit in and just be able to rest with all the stress that they're getting in this meeting? And he says, yeah, it's more than next floor. I said, do me a favour and open it up, and she did. And I says, there you go. I says, anybody can use this room to relax in. And he went and told the whole group of autistic people that had turned up, Out of all those people in that room, I was the only one who was introduced to all these people. They got business cards going all over the place. It was fantastic because they trusted me because I was there to help them. And so relieving a stress like that is a most amazing thing, to be able to get these people to know that if anything does stress you, anything in this room, anything that just something someone says that can bring bad memories back, and we can honestly, when we call memories, we've got the colour turned up to 4 and the volume turned up to 11, and we're back in that situation reliving the thing. But the thing is, they've got a place. Your car has also got to be like that place. It's got to be like that safe space, like the room in that building. There's got to be somewhere where they can go and they feel comfortable and relaxed in. And your car's got to be the same. There's got to be almost like the safe space that a lot of us on the spectrum really, really love to have, this kind of stress-free place where they can be themselves. And then all of a sudden they're bringing things into your car saying, look what I made, look what I did, look what I won, look what I've achieved today. And they're bringing in all kinds of things, everything from the personal passions, Lego, Star Wars, you name it, it's going in the vehicle. Got things in the back and we're saying, there we go, you drive with that in the back, says you're going to love this. Let's talk about this after the night. So you allow themselves 5 minutes to talk about this personal passion that gets the stress out of them. So then they're looking forward to those special 5 minutes at the end of the lesson that's all their own. And they look so forward to things like this, and are thinking, wow, that's great because I had a great driving lesson. My instructor's listening to me. My driving instructor understands the kind of stress I'm going through. My driving instructor understands that this passion that I've got is what helps relieve the stress and allows me to bring it into the vehicle. So now my car is my safe space. And they absolutely love it, honestly. So stress takes many forms on the autism spectrum and ADHD and any neurodiverse condition. It's not the standard stress that everyday people get. It's different, it's deeper, it's beyond all worlds. Ask your people about it. Don't be afraid to ask them if on the road anything can cause stress. Make sure 100% that they can talk to you, build that trust up. And anything that helps relieve the stress in the vehicle, let them share it with you. And let them share their experiences with you. Get them to open up. And the more open you are to them, the more open they will be to you, and it will develop something incredible. You could be the first person that has ever done something positive with these people.
This is sounding like it links a lot to. There's two standing out to me at the moment. And one of them was one of your earlier tips, working with the brain and understanding the brain. And then one that's more recent was having patience. Very much sounds like if we have patience and we're working with the individual, the person, is that how we can just minimize the stress in the car for that individual?
It's going further than just patience on its own. Every ADI has got patience, otherwise we wouldn't be in the industry, we hope. And if we're dealing with things like the patience to understand the pupil's brain, which is a good thing, but you're going further, you're thinking that the kind of stress this person's going to get in the car isn't going to be normal everyday stress. It's not, I'm panicking because that car overtook me, or all those lights have changed on me and I hope I didn't overshoot the stop line. It's got nothing to do with that. It's to do with something in the past that is very, very deep, something very, very strong. Mostly it starts in childhood with stress with us. It starts very, very early. We sometimes know, even before diagnosis, and some have never been diagnosed, remember that we're different. We find out at school that we're different. We go through life being different, feeling different, seeing the world from a different way, unable to blend in. You need more than patience to understand that. And it needs more than patience to really feel it, to see through our eyes and to walk in our shoes, as it were, to be able to know 100%, because the amount of stress that we can get in about 5 seconds is phenomenal. We can go to like 0 to 60 in 2.5. And it's far more than patience. Some of this stress can cause migraine. Some of this stress can cause severe diarrhea attacks. Some of this stress causes very, very severe pain, severe mental pain. And you've got to know about these stresses because that's going to affect the quality of your lesson. And no patients on the planet is going to be able to fix this, but knowledge of the stress will. How to prevent the stress happening? How to get your pupil to feel comfortable in that calm enough to be able to talk about their stresses? It's a massive, massive part of being neurodivergent, different from everybody else. This planet isn't our planet. We didn't build it. We didn't design it. We didn't control it. So we are totally out of control. We're like small rowing boats tossing around in the sea like that. And we need somebody there to be able to ground us a bit and say, hey, here's a nice safe harbor you can pull into, you know. And a lot of it's like that. You got to understand that our stress levels can break records if somebody was to measure it somewhere on a big ammeter or something. It go boom, so it's over. Wow, do you really get stressed like that? And this is how pupils sometimes are with me. It can discuss stress that they're going through with the driving instructors. And often the instructors have got no idea that the stress is like that. No idea at all. Is that really how you feel? Is it really what, it's kind of like, wow, my brain's just opened up and all of a sudden I've got these amazing ideas coming in because my pupils saw what stress they're going through. And it is, honestly, it's outside all boundaries. Outside all boundaries. And they can come on in seconds and you've got to know the different types of it. And within each individual pupil, it's all different. So it is linked definitely to patience and getting to know your pupil from another world, definitely. But it's more than that. You've got to keep your car under control while the stress is going on. You've got to be able to understand what your brain is processing. You've got to be able to think how you're going to address this problem. So it's all about thoughts. It's about anticipation of a stress happening. You can think, well, I'm going down the road here. No, this is going to be a problem. That's going to be a problem. Well, how am I going to stop my pupil getting the stress? I've got techniques for that. That's the whole point. I do have techniques for this because I've done it several times myself. I know what it's like because I've been a learner driving myself. My driving instructor knew it was up with me and thinking, ooh, because I wasn't diagnosed when I was learning to drive. But he didn't know it was different. So he taught me a different way to other people. So it's being able to cope with the stress, it's to be able to teach in different ways, be able to think inside the brain. It's being able to prepare. That's why I call it stress preparation. It's not actually thinking, maybe this house is going to cause a bit of stress, or maybe this turn's a bit difficult, or this junction's a bit more complicated. It's stress on a whole different level. You've got to know your pupil 100% to do that. And we've got loads of different ways in which you can do it.
We will make sure all of your contact details are in the description of all of these episodes through the mini series. Julia, thank you very much.
Thanks very much.
Thank you. So thank you for listening or watching that episode. If you would like more information from Julia, or you would like to learn more about teaching neurodiverse learners, you can find all the information in the description, or you can sign up to the Patreon membership. Just search for Talking Send with Dr. Julia Malkin MBE. Thank you.